Every home chef needs this cooking strategy in their repertoire. We are learning how to oven fry chicken tenders on today's episode of Learn to Cook on a Budget with yours truly. Here's why we need to learn how to do this, because chicken tenders are so good. They're so delicious. They're really easy to adjust, like flavor-wise, and we'll get into some different breading ideas and options, but also it's really expensive to eat out these days. If you haven't noticed yet, I sure have. And to feed my family of 6 in a drive-through where they serve chicken tenders like this, okay, yeah, I'm gonna make them at home. You can also do this with a nugget. If you were to cut chicken breast or these chicken tenders into smaller bite-sized pieces, you could do the same method. It just takes a little bit longer because there are more pieces. So let's get to learning how to make these oven fried chicken tenders. The first step in getting our chicken tenders ready to oven fry is to get our stations ready to go. So we're gonna do dip, place onto our wire rack and rimmed baking sheet. So I have the chicken tenders here. I'm gonna start with 2 eggs. Every now and again, I'll have to add 1 more, but I think 2 should be enough for this package. And I'm gonna whisk that with a touch of milk with my handy dandy Flisk. You guys know I love this guy. Great for pan sauces, great for whisking. So I just wanna incorporate these. This is a shallow bowl, so just quick little circles. I'm not trying to aerate these like I would if I was making scrambled eggs. I'm just trying to incorporate them so they get that nice soft yellow color. Okay. Again, we can add 1 more egg and more milk if needed, but I think we'll be okay with this. The next station is gonna be the breadcrumbs. And this is where you get to have a little fun with flavors. You can probably start with about 1.5 cups. Obviously you can add more, just like with the eggs. I'm gonna do a little Parmesan and a little garlic. This one you can kind of eyeball. It's probably about 1/4 cup of Parmesan, maybe a teaspoon or so of garlic. You could do onion too. You do paprika. You can. This is where you can have a little fun with the flavors. Just gonna use a fork to combine this. 2 other fun ways I like to do a breaded oven fried chicken like this is using crushed up potato chips or crushed up pretzels. So I'll put 2 or 3 cups of potato chips or pretzels into like a resealable baggie and just pound it out with a rolling pin or your meat mallet and get them into kind of a fine powder. If there's a little bit of texture to them, that's fine, but that's another fun way to do the breading. The potato chips have a little saltiness to it. The pretzels have, of course, that delicious pretzel flavor. You could even play with the different flavored pretzels that are out there. The honey mustard pretzels, I think, would be really delicious, just saying. I feel like I saw a new flavor of Dots pretzels here. We just got them locally in San Antonio. So I think it might be a ranch one. That would be really good too. Now I'm just making up things that may or may not be at the grocery store. So we're gonna get back to breading the chicken. So we're gonna take each chicken tender, dip both sides in the egg, and then dip into the breadcrumbs. I usually give it a little roll. I want to make sure it's nice and coated, and then we're just going to go right onto the oven rack like that. And we're just going to repeat this until all of these are used up. And if we need to add any more ingredients to our dipping stations, we absolutely can. You want to give a little bit of space between these on the baking sheet. They will shrink a little as they bake, but you don't want them to be too overcrowded either. We are using the rack with the baking sheet here for this meal because I like how it gets crispy on both sides of the chicken. If I was smarter than I am, I would have put foil at the bottom of this just for easier cleanup. Of course, you don't have to do that. I can just rinse it off when it's finished. I like doing this because it gets the crispiness on both sides. You can bake these in just a baking dish, like a 9x13 baking dish, but the bottoms sometimes get a little soggy. That depends on how much liquid is released and potentially soaked up by the breading. So we don't necessarily want the sogginess there. You can do that, but I would recommend doing it on this wire rack on the rimmed baking sheet. All right, we are almost done. Another way that you could cook these, you can put a little bit of oil, a thin layer of oil, into the bottom of a skillet and then essentially saute / pan fry these in less oil. They're not submerged in the oil, but they're still going to cook in the oil. Because these are chicken tenders, they will pan fry or saute in just a couple of minutes. You would probably want to do a medium heat so that it does not kind of burn or overcook the breading, if you will. Look at how perfect. We have just the right amount. So 2 eggs, a dash of milk, a 1.5 cups or so of breadcrumbs. And then of course I'm breading all over my hands now, but that's okay. And then we are gonna bake these at 400 for 12 to 15 minutes or until they're cooked through. The cooking time might vary a little bit. I would check the thickest of these, which actually might be this one I have right here. I would check the thickest one to make sure that it is completely cooked through. All right, I'm gonna do just a smidge of sprinkling. I see a few small spots that need a touch more of the breading. And it's time to pop these in the oven. But first, let me clean my hands. Okay, the timer's done. I just turned off the oven and now I'm gonna switch it to a low broil and I'm gonna put the timer on for 1 minute and then we will pull the chicken strips out of the oven. Our chicken tenders, just a nice touch of golden right on top from that last broil. I did peek at them. They did not have that extra golden touch on top. You could of course done a high broil, but I wanted to do low because I didn't want to over toast them for a minute. Could have been a little bit too much, but these are perfect and they are ready to put on our plates for dinner. Also, I have nested 2 of our pinch mitts together, and I did that because I had this on broil. Anytime we are roasting or broiling anything in the oven, I generally nest 2 of these guys together so that they will work properly. They were just fine by themselves as a single, but anytime you go above 450 in the oven, you want to nest these 2 together because that's just how they work, being silicone-based pinch mitts, but they sure are handy and easy to use and grab different trays. Now that you see that those only take about 15 minutes to bake and maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get ready for the oven, this is really quick. I feel like chicken, you hear that and you're like, oh, that's gonna take like an hour in the oven. It does not take that long. These chicken tenders cook really quickly, especially when we are cooking them on the baking rack and the baking sheet like we did here. Hopefully you learned something new, and if you did, I would love for you to like this video and leave a comment. Let me know when you're gonna make these and how you're gonna make them. Are you gonna use regular breadcrumbs or crushed up potato chips or pretzels? Give me some ideas as well. We always like to be trying new things here in my kitchen too. Also subscribe to the channel. We release new videos just like this one every Wednesday at noon Central Time. And I look forward to seeing you in that next video.